Andreessen is defending people who are making machines with the near-term future potential to kill us all, our kids, everyone we know and love, without our consent. I think that's kind of like an asshole thing to do.
In his head, hesitation is just weakness. Risk isn't real if you're fast enough. Anyone who's flagging dangers probably is jealous or hasn't sipped enough yet.
Just the ratio of how much harm he's causing with how little he's contributing, I think has just become overwhelming to people. So basically, don't mess with the Pope.
Three dads running 3 YouTube channels, working to wake up the world to AI risk. Tackle 1 missed warning shot each week. If it's Sunday, it's warning shots.
Hey, I'm John Sherman, host of For Humanity and AI Risk podcast. I need you right now to become a subscriber to the AI Risk Network. Go in, hit subscribe, hit alarm, do it. Welcome back to Warning Shots, everyone. I am John Sherman, your host, president of the AI Risk Network, joined here, as always, by my co-host, Michael of the Lethal Intelligence channel here on YouTube. Follow it if you don't. Subscribe. Liron of the Doom Debates channel here on YouTube. Incredibly amazing YouTube channel. Lots of incredible stuff coming up. Very excited about that. But today, we're here to talk about a warning shot. And a warning shot is something that we wish the outside world would have paid more attention to that happened inside the world of AI risk. This is one today that actually did sort of cross into the outside world in kind of an odd way. So we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the Pope and Marc Andreessen being at odds. And if you listen in the background, you will hear Michael's child having a piano lesson going on that we'll be wrapping up shortly. But last week we had Liron's kids on it. So this week we're doing Michael's piano lesson. We're leaning into all of it. We love the kids. So Michael, let's start out with Marc Andreessen, one of the most richest, powerful men on the planet. He's got a very active Twitter account, as I am intimately aware. Michael, tell us about this situation with our friend, or not our friend. Tell us the situation with Andreessen.
In a nutshell, Pope Leo XIV posted this on his official Vatican handle. Innovation carries an ethical and spiritual weight. Those who develop AI must cultivate moral discernment as a fundamental part of their work, ensuring technology serves human dignity and the common good, not unchecked ambition. So it wasn't anything controversial or anything too, negative. It was just a straightforward call for some soul searching in tech. So Marc Andreessen tweeted it with a dismissive meme, like the Pope is just another backseat driver. And he deleted it within an hour after the replies lit up. But yeah, screenshots will stay there. The backlash was instant and brutal. Over 500 replies in the first day and mostly, torching him for hubris. I like the viral reply from a former portfolio founder of his, firm fund. He said, "I've seen the inside rushing frontier AI without brakes. It isn't bold. It's begging for bioweapons or deepfake Armageddon. So listen to the man in white for once." So the replies was this kind of thing. And why is this a warning shot? I think it's a general theme. First of all, we should talk a bit about who Marc Andreessen is, for those who don't know. Basically, he's this very big shot Silicon Valley VC. He co-founded Andreessen Horowitz A16Z. This powerhouse firm that's poured billions in tech startups since 2009. In the 90s, he actually co-founded Netscape, for those who remember Netscape Navigator. And he has a reputation as the godfather of web investing. So he did early bets on Facebook, Twitter, Airbnb and stuff. So he has net worth of 10 billion or something. Yeah. And he has this techno-optimist accelerationist vibe.
Yeah.
And do you know, should I talk about the manifesto he dropped?
Let's jump over to Liron real quick. And then so we've got Andreessen, who is like the most obnoxiously pro-tech, anti-safety person with the most power, I feel like. I don't know that that's exactly true, but that's how I feel about him. Dunking on the Pope, right? Dunking on the Pope, who's just basically saying like something pretty innocuous. Liron, thoughts about this?
Well, the reason I agree that he has the most power is because he has a lot of money and influence, and he is famously the biggest donor to this new super PAC, or this lobbying foundation that has 100 million, I think maybe even 200 million, but he's basically the biggest heavy hitter now in politics.
Yep.
And he did it before with crypto, the famous Fair Shake PAC that was basically telling candidates, hey, you guys better not say anything against crypto or you'll suddenly find that your opponent is very well funded. And it was like very sneaky because they would well fund the opponents just on other ads. They wouldn't even talk about crypto. It was just like, we hate you because you're anti-crypto. So we're just helping your opponent talk about like abortion or whatever. So similarly with AI, everybody knows like, hey, you say something against AI, Andreessen's coming, like very clearly. And also Greg Brockman from OpenAI, I think, is the other major donor to this. So yeah, tons of power and influence. And, in Silicon Valley, if you want to get VC funding, he's very influential there. And the guy's very optimistic about AI. He's as far back as 2023, he came out with the Techno-Optimist Manifesto. Nothing wrong with being a techno-optimist, but he made a bunch of easily disprovable claims about AI. A famous quote that a lot of us like to repeat is, "It's just math. How can it hurt you? It's just math. Like, calm down." And it's like, isn't a tiger just math? Like, isn't the universe just following physical laws? Like, where's the boundary between math and reality?
Sure, a nuclear weapon has a lot of math involved in it.
Exactly, right? Oh yeah, look at this nuclear weapon. It's just math, right? It's just an atom splitting. What's the big deal? So yeah, that's not the end of his quotes. I'm not zooming in on one dumb thing to dunk on. I've done whole threads about all the insane claim he makes. He's just like, if the AI is bad, it'll just debug itself. Like, it'll just find the bug and fix it if it's so smart. Which like sidesteps the idea of like, well, what if it doesn't think that it's a bug? Like, it thinks it's fine. It thinks we're the bug. So he's never engaging with these kind of arguments. He's just very much like, it's all good. So this recent dust up with the Pope is kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, where for me personally, I saw it and I wasn't surprised at all that he's being very dismissive of the Pope's simple call to exercise morality, to exercise care. Like, the Pope was being like, it was this very like mainstream unifying message from the Pope. And of course, if you're Catholic, you're going to be extra likely to believe it. And Marc Andreessen just feels the need to be like, oh, exercise care? No thanks. Like, screw you, Pope. And that's what finally got everybody to be like, okay, Marc has gone too far this time. But I think it was really a lot of this built up anger and frustration at Marc's constant bad behavior in the discourse. I have to keep piling on here, but if you want to look at Marc's bad behavior, if there's other people in the discourse that you respect, like Dwarkesh Patel, famously has a great podcast, really curious guy, really thoughtful guy. Marc has actually been on Dwarkesh's podcast. The moment Dwarkesh published something that was pushing back on some of Marc's claim, instant block on social media. It's not just Dwarkesh. There was a bunch of other VCs that venture capitalists who have had the same experience. Even people that Marc follows for years, like the moment they push back on Marc, he literally just goes for the block button. So he's just become infamous. And it's characters like to be extreme, right? I mean, you don't become a billionaire by acting like a normal person. Like, you have to do something weird, but just the ratio of how much harm he's causing with how little he's contributing, I think has just become overwhelming to people. And yeah, so basically don't mess with the Pope.
And what can we draw from this? Like, Andreessen is defending people who are making machines with the near-term future potential to kill us all, our kids, everyone we know and love, without our consent. I think that's kind of like an asshole thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like, I think he definitely has an asshole personality, and like a lot of people do. I mean, Elon Musk, even people who work for him and respect him are like, yeah, well, he's an asshole, but he's so effective. And, to some degree, that's true about Andreessen. I mean, he's made a lot of money, right? I mean, it's, you got to respect his intelligence or his skills. It's just, there's just a point where he's not just like a funny asshole. He's an asshole that's like really accelerating the destruction of like the future of humanity. So that's the only reason I care.
But
yeah,
the way,
and Michael,
It's not just words, by the way. So to understand how reckless it gets, I mean, he's fans chasing the edgiest AI plays without any concerns about safeguards. So like just this summer, they dumped, I think, like 15 million into something called Clueless, which is this AI startup whose slogan is cheat at everything. So it basically gives real-time cheats for everything, like job interviews, exams, you name it. And this is so obviously net bad, it's almost cartoonish. It's like a blueprint for societal sabotage, eroding trust in work and education overnight. And it's not a one-off. So A16Z is knee-deep in frontier AI that could crank out, deep fakes, bioweapon code, cyber hacks, and all at the same time, Marc is out there tweeting that the real danger is slowing down. So he's claiming that if we don't accelerate, millions will die, ignoring how his portfolio could turbocharge bad actors like, rogue states or hackers. And famously, he even though he was talking about nuclear weapons, how they have actually made the world very peaceful. And, we're talking about really unchecked acceleration, like pouring gasoline into the fire and then act shocked, when it burns the house down. And it's just mad scientists yelling, progress while the lab is on fire. I mean, if you try to understand his psychology, it's extremely dangerous. Like, he's a bit like he's drunk on Silicon Valley's own Kool-Aid, you know? He grew up geeking out on... He has this developer mindset, being creative, but he rode that wave to billionaire status, and now he's trapped in this survivorship bias, where everything worked out for him, you know? So, you know, .com bust, nah, he timed it perfectly. AI wither, he will outrun that. So, in his head, hesitation is just weakness. And risk isn't real if you're fast enough. And anyone who's flagging dangers probably is jealous or hasn't sipped enough yet. And, you know, it's a dangerous combo because successful coder brain plus unchecked ego is treating society like an open source you can fork whenever, right? And he's not an evil. I don't think he's evil on purpose, just convinced that the apocalypse is coming in a future version. And he's like
I can add
developer.
To that.
I don't know if he's not evil on purpose. Liron, is he not? Thoughts on his evilness?
I don't think anybody's evil on purpose in their own head. You know, like Hitler was a great guy in his own head, so I wouldn't go that far. Okay. I can build on why we're saying that he is reckless, basically. All these venture capitalists, their whole career, you know, the guy's had like a multi-decade career in venture capital, in the tech industry. You've never gone wrong by just saying, let me bet on a portfolio of technology. Like, something is going to work. Let's be techno-optimistic. It's been all upside. And there's never been a time when taking a big risk has this amount of downside, right? So even, okay, social media privacy. Oh no, you know, our data is all over the place. Okay, that's still fine. Like, we can still plow through, right? There's never been a time when it's like, no, you gamble everything, you lose, it's over. And so all of these venture capitalists, all of these tech people who are telling you, like, listen, I'm experienced, I know what's up, they're just not expecting a discontinuity. They're not expecting to check the S&P, check the NASDAQ, yes. And instead of seeing like your yearly, oh, it went up 25% this year, it's going to go down 99.999%. It's just not in their playbook.
I have a very good friend of mine who is in, venture capital type stuff. And I have long conversations with him about this, about Andreessen, who he's just a tech guy, he's an investor. And can it just be tools? And every tech I've ever invested in worked out great. And it is this sort of like, you know, continuity bias where tomorrow, of course, will look like yesterday. But the stuff we talk about and think about with AI risk is entirely different. Michael, talk about, you know, how do we, what I'm interested in is how do we take this like asshole attitude that Andreessen has and try to point to the public and be like, look, this is who they are. This is what they are. These people are not on your side. They're not with you.
Yeah, I mean, if we just look at his actions, how he operates against, well-respected scientists, he literally dropped a manifesto last year blasting anyone who worries about AI as being cult doomers, holding back progress. So he's portraying anyone raising concerns as a peddling conspiracy theories, being scared of math and code, like Liron was saying earlier, grifters, casting in on fear-mongering, calling for airstrikes on data centers and so on. And he's just systematically working and funding efforts of smearing the reputation of scientists, experts, and communicators who call for caution. And I mean, if you try to explain all this, I mean, you might think, okay, this is basically suicidal at the end of the day. But I was explaining earlier, he's just pedal to the metal. He has this psychology where he has this survivorship bias where things work out eventually. Break it till you make it, you know. How could you say? You have to make it... you can do iterations. You can do something now, make new products, new versions, just this startup mentality. And I mean, just to see how extreme he is, he was literally saying there was this gem from a rant on AI he did on 2023, and he was saying nuclear weapons prevented World War III with the USSR, and it's a good thing we ignored the nuclear doomers because basically, you know, the smart folks panicked, but boom, you know, we have peace everywhere through firepower. So it's the same with AI, you know, hit the gas, let's make it as powerful as possible, and we'll see what happens. It's probably going to be awesome. It's just this acceleration.
These guys put out this, they're into this like macho tough guy, like masculinity, this whole, you know, vibe of like, rah, and they can't take the slightest non-burn without overreacting. It's like Altman has the same DNA, super duper thin skinned, with this combination of like, you know, corporate brawniness with personal thin-skinnedness that is unmatched. It's a wild combination. I've seen it in Altman this week and in Andreessen. Like, why, if you feel so strongly about what you're doing, is your skin so thin when people say things about it? It doesn't comport. It doesn't make sense. All right, we're going to talk about one more thing here. Like we do, we're going to tack on one issue. Michael is always very concerned about capabilities advancement in our warning shots. And Liron and Michael and I have texts and a meeting earlier in the week where we talk about what we're going to talk about in the show. And kudos to Michael for always beating the drum for like actual scientific capabilities advancement, where sometimes I want to go for like what is a little splashy or, we think will draw the views. So Michael, tell us about this capabilities advancement, because it is very important.
Yeah. So there was a breakthrough from MIT called SEAL, SEAL, and it's quite wild. It's basically self-adapting language models. And the thing is, the AI basically teaches itself by taking its own training data and tweaking its code on the fly. And it's kind of scary how close we're getting to AI that levels up so low. And SEAL basically is this framework where it's kind of teaching itself similar to how a human will do. It's making the AI more flexible in the real world stuff that says it's fast. And basically the model hits a new task or a data set it doesn't know. And instead of freezing up, it first generates its own study sheets, synthetic data, data tailored to the gaps. And then it creates self-edits, which are like custom instructions for tweaking its own code and parameters. And it tests these edits in a loop, picking the winners based on performance, and applies them to level up. So basically, there is no extra training cycles needed. It's all basically internal brainstorming and trial and error. And what this means is basically it's a huge shift towards lifelong learning AI that evolves on the fly. It's exactly like humans pick up new skills. But yeah, I mean, obviously it comes up worries about control. I mean, I'll let someone else speak and I'll come back to it later, to talk more about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, Liron, obviously capabilities advancement is the big concern. Recursive self-improvement is the bright red line. When the next AI is made by the last AI without humans involved, that is a very, very bad thing. Thoughts on this development?
Yeah, so this particular development is just one way that, like Michael said, these AIs don't have to go through a whole new long training process when they want to get to the next version. They can just kind of go in and patch themselves. Will this particular development be revolutionary? There's usually like one revolutionary thing every year, so in the last year, it's just been like reasoning, right? Milking all the juice out of these new reasoning models like GPT-5 and O3 before that, and Claude does reasoning. So will the next development be this SEAL thing where it's like the AIs that patch themselves and modify their own weights? Maybe. I mean, it's kind of like when you hear like a new miracle drug in science, right? It's always like, oh, this drug will help you do that. And then like eventually it's like, oh, wow, Ozempic kind of is a miracle drug, right? So eventually you kind of get the real deal. So we're going to get the real deal in AI. It probably won't be this, right? Each of these things is like 10% chance, but it will be something that will solve this problem that the same thing is trying to solve. So like it's correct that they're trying to solve this problem of like, can't the AIs really learn? Like when you and I go to sleep and wake up the next day, if we've been working in some area, like if we've been getting into doing our own plumbing or whatever, you wake up the next day and you're a slightly better plumber, and every day, and then eventually you're like a professional plumber. And the AIs don't really do that. They just need to like retrain and then become a new AI. But in theory, this idea that you've got this pile of AI weights, AI source code, and the AI can just look at it, right? Be like, hey, here's a piece of code. It's your own code. How do you think it could be better? And the AI is like, I think it could be better like this. Let's tweak this. I learned something, so I want to tweak my weights. We know enough computer science. Like we know fundamental computer science tells us this is absolutely possible. So it's entirely just a matter of implementation. And so, like I said, every time I see an article like this, show me 10 articles like this. One of them is going to be a game changer, and that'll take us to the next year. And then you stack up like 3 or 4 or 5 game changers, and then it gets past the human brain, and then it's game over. Like that is currently the limbo that we're in right now.
If you like the content we're making here on the AI Risk Network, but you're not a subscriber, what are you thinking? We need everyone to be a subscriber. Do it. And I'm always of the mindset that I think like the big companies are going to do the big things, but correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, this is not a big company doing this. Is it possible that like some small lab somewhere could create the self-improving thing that runs away?
Yeah, I mean, in this particular situation, we're talking about research and coming from MIT. And the paper dropped a couple months ago. I think we're going to see prototypes in labs maybe in a year or two. So maybe 2027, it will be out there, doing its own learning. And I mean, it held up really well on tests. It actually boosted the factual accuracy by 40% on over baselines, even on unseen data, on math problems, on puzzles and coding challenges. And I mean, okay, let's talk about what the worry is. I think basically alignment is like duct taping principles onto an AI, but with SEAL, it will let it change those however it wants. And if it thinks it will score higher, now it has the ability to just, hack its own brain in a way to make it more efficient or score better at whatever the goal is. So the implication here is drift risk, right? So let's say we beg it to be honest, but it says accuracy on sketchy data. It might rewrite itself to say lies just because that boosts benchmark scores. And that actually is guaranteed to happen. I mean, if there is a path available to it, as we've seen with blackmailing and stuff, it will take it. And actually, in tests, it also showed up this kind of thing. And as the feedback loop keeps evolving, the weights to increase performance, its initial personality will start eroding. There's even evidence in tests, like it started aligned. It didn't stay aligned. Well, in short runs, it stayed aligned, but after 5 or 6 iterations, it started changing, let's say, its initial specification. And I mean, instead of the whole cycle might take. I don't know, initially might have to wait for a few hours for it to change, but eventually be very, very quick, and it can easily spin out of control, right? With the rogue scenario.
Yeah. I can give you guys, I can give you guys more context on how to think about these kinds of research. So even though I said each particular research paper has a low chance of being like the one, it's important context that AI researchers in the field right now, even though there's skepticism of like, oh my God, there's a bubble or we've milked everything we can out of LLMs, the actual reports on the ground from the AI companies and a bunch of independent researchers, they're all saying, no, there's a lot of room to run. Like we're currently standing in this new place. Like all this new technology has gotten us into this new frontier. And we're seeing a lot of very promising low-hanging fruit. And it's just a matter of time. Like we're getting a lot of different ideas. And the ideas are all relatively simple. Like if you take one star researcher like Andrei Karpathy, one of the top researchers in the world, he's always posting different thoughts and ideas. If that one person just had like decades to work, or if he just made you a list of like, here's 10 ideas that Andrei Karpathy currently thinks are good ideas, it's not because some genius hasn't thought of the ideas. Probably one of Andrei's top 10 ideas is going to work and be like the next breakthrough. He just doesn't have time to try them all. AI companies don't have time to try them all. OpenAI is already pants on fire, just trying to support what they've already built and try to do all these enterprise applications. So everybody is just busy. Like talent is spread thin, but the ideas are absolutely here. So my prediction is wait a few months. And if it's not this paper, there's going to be some other thing that makes the AI significantly better the way reasoning did in the last year. Like I fully expect that that's where we're going.
Yeah.
It's very clear, like it might lead to intelligence explosion as well. Because, even if it's harmless gain, let's say 10% at the beginning, this could lead to, capabilities compound. And then this can, lead to skyrocket exponentially. Eventually, one version will make it smarter. Being smarter will be able to do even smarter changes. The change will be smarter and smarter. Then hardware change will come along. And eventually, the speed of change will just completely, we won't be able to even keep up with what change is going on. And it's just very dangerous. Maybe there is some limits, some rate limits, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that is, the brightest red line in this whole thing is when it starts improving itself and runs off away from us. That is the bright red line we are trying to avoid. All right, guys, we are over time, but it's great stuff, so we don't care. We set the line. We decide how long this show is, not anybody else.
We're
all right, guys,
updating the parameters real time.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys, great to see you. Oh, whoa. All right, nice. Michael, got in it. Ooh, classic. Very nice. The Gatling gun situation. Awesome. All right, guys, great to see you. See you next week.
See you guys.
See ya.